So, this is how it goes. You start here, a little bit of chitter-chatter about some freaky little internet thing that's going around, like the Momo challenge. Then some articles start to appear about it. Then all of the media goes bananas for it, and everyone's panicking about this new threat to our children and what are parents doing? Why aren't companies screening for these things? And at the same time, you start to hear a little bit of chatter that maybe it's not real. And then news articles start to appear saying it's not real. And what was everyone making such a fuss about? What were parents being so dramatic about? And so it goes until it just eats itself. It's been quite the roller coaster this week with the Momo challenge. If you don't know what it is, where have you been? Basically, the sort of freaky deaky woman's face that would appear in a video or a WhatsApp thing and would entice a child or a young person into conversation, and then the tone of things would become more and more disturbing, even going so far as to suggest that the child harmed themselves. There were reports that children had been told to hold a knife to their throats, that children had been encouraged to go and turn the gas on in the house or go and look for tablets that they could take. And it's horrific stuff. And it had echoes of the blue whale challenge that we've had previously. We've had a prominent YouTuber who has been grooming young followers to send him explicit pictures. There have been people commenting on videos of children, awful comments, so much so that YouTube has disabled comments on videos that contain young children for the time being while this all kind of gets dealt with. And so for anyone who questions the hysterical reaction that parents have had sharing this Momo challenge and other things across Facebook and in these other places and all kind of having a little flap about it, it's because the Momo challenge may be a hoax, but the fear that it provokes in parents is very, very real. And fair enough, I would say. Because at the risk of sounding like a granny, in my day, we didn't have this. We had urban legends and horror stories that you would share in the playground. We had flashes, remember them? But we didn't have this pervasive threat that comes into your home and it follows you on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. It's inescapable, and that is something that this generation of youngsters is having to deal with for the first time. There's no precedent. We don't know how to deal with it. We don't know how to tell them to deal with it. Every other parent that I talk to where I go, oh my God, what are we going to do when they get a bit older? Because my kids are still young, they're 3 and 6. We all just go, I don't know. And it is terrifying. So what do we do? Generally, when this whole Momo thing has happened, the comments that you see bandied about go mainly into 2 points. One being parents should be monitoring everything their children are doing online, and the other being that we should be talking to our children and they should be telling us what's going on with what they're doing online. Both of those things, absolutely 100% yes. However, I do have an issue with each of those points. First one being the idea that parents should be monitoring everything their kids do online. Yes, absolutely. Know what your child is accessing. Make sure you have all your privacy settings sorted. Are they able to talk to other people? Who are they talking to? Make sure you limit everything that you can. You control everything that you can. Check in with them. Make sure they haven't gone off down a little rabbit hole, because we all know how easy it is to disappear down a YouTube rabbit hole. But generally speaking, the reason my kids are in front of a screen, whether it's the TV or an iPad or whatever, it's because I am busy doing something else. I'm often in another room. I'm not neglectful, I'm just occupied. And even when you take all the precautions and you do monitor, one of the hoo-has about this whole Momo thing was the idea that people were inserting these clips, enticing children into this bad contact within child-friendly content. So it might start off as a cartoon of Peppa Pig. You might go, haha, there my child, have this cartoon of Peppa Pig while I just go and do something. You walk out of the room and then boom, it changes to something else. You cannot watch every second of what they watch. They are going to be watching unattended. And the other point that people were making is that your children should be talking to you about what they're watching. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I ask my kids a question, how was your day? What did you do? Who did you play with? What did you eat? I get, I don't know, I don't remember. How do you not remember? It literally just happened. And children lie. I have very nice, very good children, but I'll tell you a little tale. My son, my 6-year-old, has these little collectible toys called Super Zings, and he's not supposed to take them into school, and we'd had a big chat about it. You're not going to take them into school. So we set off. I've said to him, you're not taking any to school today, are you? I'm not taking any to school, Mum. Brilliant. Off we go, we're getting into the car. And as we're getting into the car, I hear him say to his little brother, I've got some super zings in my pocket. So we get in and I say, darling, do you have any super zings? No, mum, he says. So you don't have any in your pocket? No, mum. So if I looked in your pocket now, there aren't any super zings in there? Nope. Little liar. Because he knows if he tells me the truth, he's in trouble. So he's lied. So if he was looking at the Momo challenge, but he knows I don't want him to look at it, I could ask him outright and he could still lie. And even at 6, we've already reached the phase where sometimes his friends have a bigger influence on him than I do. He has come home and told me, oh, so-and-so said this today in school, and I know it's not true because it's a ridiculous thing, but if I say to him, oh, darling, I think they were teasing you, that's not true. Oh, yes, it is. They told me. And he doesn't believe me. When I say, no, your friend doesn't have a helicopter made of gold in their back garden. He's like, they told me they did. What do you know, woman? So when we get to a point where I'm saying, don't do this on the internet, but his friends are saying, do this on the internet, that's not a battle I'm necessarily going to win. So I can't watch what he does all the time, and I can't trust him to tell me what he's doing. So what can I do? Ultimately, much like every bad bit of parenting, not a lot. I can't take this danger out of their lives. Maybe the Momo challenge was a hoax or was blown out of proportion and exaggerated, whatever. Maybe that isn't the danger we initially all panicked that it would be, but there's no question that the danger on the internet exists in whichever shape or form it takes. I want to protect him from that, I want to keep him from that, but I can't. It's a part of his life. He is going to come across dangerous things on the internet in the same way he's going to come across smoking, he's going to come across drugs, alcohol, sex, all of these things that I want to keep my precious little child away from. I can't go everywhere with them throughout their lives. I can't vet every person that they talk to. I can't make their choices for them. All I can do is send them into this battle of life with as much information as possible, with the confidence to make their own decisions and follow through with those decisions, the good decisions, and give them faith that I will listen to them with no judgment and no punishment if there's something bad they need to talk to me about. It's not much, is it? I read some advice somewhere once to give to kids when it comes to online things. If you're watching something and it upsets you, switch it off, go and tell a grown-up. And I feel like that's really basic, but that's the level that kids are going to understand. So with this whole Momo moment that's happened, I have sat down and talked to my little boy. I haven't shown him the picture because Jiminy Crickets, that picture terrifies me, and I'm 37. I'm not showing it to my 6-year-old. But I kind of just gently, have you heard of this Momo thing? You heard anyone talk about it? No, nothing. And then I just reminded him of that basic rule. What do you do if you see something that's not nice? Turn it off, go and tell a grown-up. He knew that. I think they've obviously talked about it as well in school because he knew it straight away. I think just finding the way to have those conversations about peer pressure, about the fact that there are bad things out there and what to do when you come across them, making sure they realise what they see isn't real. Generally when I start these kind of conversations, I can see my 6-year-old's eyes just go like, oh, mum's talking again. I'll just sit here till she finishes. So it's keeping an eye out for avenues where you can kind of get this information to them in a way that they maybe engage with a little bit more. And I guess remember that when the next one of these news stories comes up, because it will, you try and use it gently as another learning opportunity to talk with your child and try not to get too panicked, because it is what it is. These things will happen. And I think the fear is the one emotion that came out of all of this, but I think also we're all quite angry. Why would somebody do this? I don't get the motivation to create disturbing content like this. I don't get the motivation for any of it. Why can't people just be nice? Why can't the world just be nice? My children deserve to live in a nice world. What is the matter with all of you? Not you. And maybe one day the world will be nice. But until then, all we can do is arm our children as best we can for the world that we've got. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, if you have any tips, please do leave them in the comments below, because like I say, I don't know what I'm doing.